Hello guys and gals, and welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. This time we're taking a look at a creepypasta called Counter-Strike 1.6 Corrupted Version. This creepypasta begins with the player telling us about a time they played a strange version of Counter-Strike 1.6 and goes into detail about what happened to them. The player had recently received a modded copy of Counter-Strike from his or her friend and was excited to play it. The friend had sent the player a zip file containing the game called mod.zip. The mod was said to contain custom skins, weapons, and other features the player was eager to try out. After the zip file finished downloading, the player checked the zip file and found there were only two files inside, csstrike.exe and readme.doc. Upon opening the readme file, it seemed blank at first, but after scrolling down to the bottom, the player saw the words, "Thanks for downloading. Please run the application, mind the bug and core." The player was confused that the text seemed to be cut off, and wondered if core meant corruption. After scanning the file with an antivirus software, everything seemed to be fine, so the player extracted the game onto their desktop and began playing. When the player opened the game, the computer screen went black, but eventually flashed white and the title screen appeared. Though the game's title screen was all glitchy and garbled, and the background music had been replaced with static. On the main menu, the only option the player could choose was to create a new server, but when he or she tried to, none of the original Counter-Strike maps could be chosen. Instead, there was a map called Null. The player decided to pick the Null map, and when he or she loaded into a server, the map seemed to be an altered version of DE Dust, with corrupted textures and a messed up skybox. The player spawned as a counter-terrorist, and discovered his or her pistol had no ammo. Upon looking around the map, the player noticed that there appeared to be no enemy players or bots whatsoever. That was until the player spotted what looked like one of the hostages with blood on his clothes, holding a butcher's knife. Just then, the hostage screamed in a violent manner and began chasing the player with the butcher's knife. The player tried to run, but was eventually caught and killed by the insane hostage. As the player's character died, the screen faded to black with the announcer saying, "Terrorists win," despite the fact no other players were in the game at the time. Suddenly, the player's computer began to melt and burst into flames as the player lost consciousness and blacked out. After waking up, the player noticed his or her computer was still intact, meaning that he or she must have been dreaming. The player noticed, however, that the corrupted Counter-Strike was still on their desktop, with an error message stating, "csstrike.exe is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program or batch file." After that, the game deleted itself off the player's hard drive, never to be seen again. Now, for what I thought about this creepypasta, I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, I'm glad there was no overused cliches like blood or gore or anything like that. And the phenomenon of the crazy hostage killing the player was genuinely creepy. The story had pretty nice build-up too, and no old men in garage sales to be found here, right? In the end, what would you rate this and what would you change to make it better? This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, and if you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This has been a Haunted Gaming tribute, and I'm out.